Hot damn, Heretic slept. Oh, my bad. Were you expecting a thoughtful intro? No. Hi, I'm the unqualified reviewer. Subscribe so I can continue to pollute the YouTube algorithm with my videos. Yeah, today we're talking about Mr. Reed from Heretic. To start, go watch Heretic. It's an absolutely brilliant film. Heretic is what Longlegs promised to be. So, yeah, spoilers ahead for Heretic. A large part of what makes Heretic brilliant is the antagonist, Mr. Reed. He is definitely top 3 horror movie villains for me, and the only one I could see passing him is, of course, probably the chef from The Menu or the devil from The Wailing. So, today, let's talk about Mr. Reed, a terrifying villain who ends up as, in my opinion, a tragic character. Before any of this, I must just say how much I love this film. I'm jaded from horror films trying to have some third act twist that makes me want to jump headlong into a briar patch. The number of times I thought this movie was going to pull a third act genre switch to sci-fi or supernatural. That was the greatest tension for me. Not whether the characters were going to live, but whether or not the movie was going to shoot itself in the foot with a dumb twist. But without further ado, let's talk about Mr. Reed's interactions and break down why he's brilliant. Mr. Reed's brilliant comes from 4 important factors: portrayal, purpose, philosophy, and tragedy of his character. Yeah, I couldn't think of anything for the last one. Alliteration with P. To start, Hugh Grant, brilliant. Hugh Grant is such a menacing actor. He has the ability to smile while being extremely expressive with his eyes. This allows him to be one of the creepiest actors alive, in my opinion. He plays a manipulator extremely well. This movie, along with Paddington 2, another fantastic movie, has convinced me that he can play a terrifying villain. The friendly and measured tone of voice that is eternally condescending is brilliant. This friendliness is made all the more horrifying by the brutality that he displays throughout the film, as Mr. Reed goes from 0 to 100 without ever losing his smile or cheery attitude. Hugh Grant portrays a mastermind who knows full well that he has all the cards. Second, let's talk about Mr. Reed's end goal or purpose, or rather his apparent lack of an end goal. The fact that you don't know what Mr. Reed wants throughout the vast majority of the movie creates so much tension. Because you don't know what he wants, you, the viewer, are left eternally on your toes. You don't know what he believes, so you don't know what he wants. But it's clear from the way he's acting that he wants something and is trying to make some sort of point. It's a lot like being held up at gunpoint by a chimpanzee in a Pink Floyd t-shirt. It's clear that the chimpanzee wants something from me, but I don't know what it is. But because I'm fully aware the chimp can do literally anything, I am desperately trying to figure out what the chimpanzee with the gun wants. Throughout the movie, I was continuously guessing what Mr. Reed wanted. So let's talk about what I thought Mr. Reed wanted, and then talk about what I believe Reed actually wanted at the very end, while talking about the tragedy of his character. My initial thought was Mr. Reed's just a serial killer. Probably because the past few horror movies I've watched have been pulpy, dumb fun horror movies, without super deep philosophical arguments. I'm looking at you, Shelby Oaks and The Monkey. Don't get me wrong, fine movies, but not really deeply philosophical. But it soon became clear to me that Mr. Reed wanted something more than murder. My next idea? Demon worshiper. 100%. I could have sworn this dude was going to pull some crazy demon stuff out of somewhere. Between his talk about the one true religion and his whole spiel about modern religions having their basis in older faith, I was fully expecting the genre shift in the third act to be supernatural horror. My next idea was when I knew Mr. Reed was a great villain, because I was beginning to buy what this man was selling. I genuinely thought that maybe the plot twist of this movie was that Mr. Reed was right and the world was a simulation. That's right, Mr. Reed pulled a devil from the wailing and genuinely confused me enough to start believing that maybe he was the good guy. Which is massive praise if you know how much I love the devil from the wailing. Also, again, being able to confuse your audience into thinking the villain might be right is how you know you have a great manipulator type villain on your hand. And again, it's only happened one other time. I can't stress this enough, and I do watch quite a few movies. But then I went back to expecting demonic influence, as the symbols on the doors and more talk of the one true religion had me convinced that Satan or Cthulhu or a chimpanzee with a Pink Floyd t-shirt and a gun was going to be behind the very next door. Then you get the final reveal of what Mr. Reed's endgame truly was. Mr. Reed is a missionary killer in the truest sense. Not a missionary killer in the true crime term, like someone who kills people for a reason. That's what a missionary killer is in true crime. But a literal missionary killer, as he seems to kill to convert people. So let's finally talk about Mr. Reed's beliefs and his idea on the one true religion. If you are still here and haven't seen the film, first, please like and sub because you watched this far. I appreciate it. Second, I've tried to keep this relatively spoiler-free, but this is where I'm really gonna start just spewing out the spoilers. So if you haven't seen it, turn back. If you even think you might watch it, turn back. This is the absolute final warning. If you have not seen the film, go watch it. I can wait. Okay, so you're still here. Time to talk about Mr. Reed's philosophy and the one true religion. Control. Mr. Reed believes that control is the one true religion. His synopsis, in a way, makes sense, and he backs it up in a seemingly well thought out way. While I don't agree with Mr. Reed, he does give a compelling argument. He is able to dictate every action that the main characters take because he knows their faith. And he also knows that beliefs dictate actions. When his plans did go awry, for example, when the prophet went off script saying nothing of was real, he was able to spin a BS story about everything being a simulation because he knew how the characters would act. The door analogy, which I will touch on later, shows how control is the true religion. Belief and disbelief are both just respective methods of control, as they both lead to the same exact place. This is brilliantly shown through the fact that the belief and disbelief doors both lead to this basement area of the house. Reed is able to produce seemingly incredible miracles, but again, it's all a sham through control. He has converted himself into a god of control. As through control, he has created a group of zealots who are literally willing to die for what he believes, because what he believes has become what they believe through manipulation. Thus, his thesis that control is king seems to check out. But Mr. Reviewer Man, what then is the significance of the prayer study, and what does the butterfly mean? Well, shut up about the butterfly and allow me to explain the tragedy of Mr. Reed. I think the tragedy of Mr. Reed comes from the conversation about the door and the reaction he has when he's told that prayer doesn't work by Sister Paxton. Here's what I think. I think Mr. Reed is looking for his belief to be validated. When talking about the doors, Mr. Reed says he is afraid of both doors. He is afraid of disbelief because that means there is nothing after this life, and it is ultimately purposeless. Conversely, if there is an omnipresent, omnipotent, and in his eyes, arbitrary God, then belief is equally terrifying. I think what Mr. Reed actually wants is validation from Sister Paxton in his belief that control is God. Essentially, if Reed can get this devout believer to accept his idea that control is the one true religion, then he can avoid the terror presented by the two doors, because now he has something to believe in, and it is not something that is in his eyes arbitrary. Going back to the chimpanzee analogy, maybe the chimp just wanted you to give him validation after his wife left him and took the kids. I just really want to use that chimpanzee running joke again. This is why I think Mr. Reed gets so furious when Sister Paxton says that prayer doesn't work, and it's simply a good thing to do because it allows you to think about others. First, hot damn, this line is beautiful. But more importantly, it proves Mr. Reed's thesis wrong. He believed that he had total control of Sister Paxton, and the fact that Sister Paxton had ideas that differ from her denomination flies in the face of Mr. Reed's thesis that religion is only a tool of control. I believe that Mr. Reed had planned for everything up until that moment. Yes, I am saying Mr. Reed did plan to be stabbed, or at least it was not out of his calculations. He, I think, knew that she had the letter opener. Because if Mr. Reed's end goal was to see his thesis proven right, then when he tells Sister Paxton to pray, even after everything she experienced, she would prove him right and show him that even now, her faith dictated her actions. But because Sister Paxton disavows the efficacy of prayer, Sister Paxton shatters Mr. Reed's idea that religion is only about control, as she shows that she is not controlled by her religion. And that's where I think the tragedy comes in. His final intonation of quiet seems to suggest that he is desperate to not hear that his idea was wrong and that he has lived his life chasing a false god, that being control. Thank you guys for listening, and please do like and sub, or I will send a chimpanzee with a Pink Floyd t-shirt and a gun to your house. Yeah. I really appreciate it. If you had told me when I started this channel that I would have a consistent viewers of like 200 per video, I would call you absolutely crazier than a chimpanzee with a gun and a Pink Floyd t-shirt. I appreciate you guys so much. I can't express how much I appreciate it. Truly, it's a joy to create for you guys, and it really makes my day to know that people are out there watching me ramble crazily about things I enjoy. And getting to share that with you is great. So I appreciate it. Like and sub. Peace.